Yeah, I just wanted to make a quick update video on this motor. I was right. On these flatheads, you can't use the Nikki carburetor. It runs fine with it, but the problem is the air filter housings for these engines don't fit this properly, so it ends up not allowing the choke butterfly to open and close. It gets stuck on the air filter housing. So eventually I'll get around to putting a Walbro back on, so this way the proper air filter housing assembly can fit on. Otherwise it runs perfect now. I had to straighten out these linkages a little bit because they were getting frozen too. Like, see, it's still get a little bit stuck, but they're pretty much okay now. What else? Oh, I don't think it was getting spark, so I changed the coil. It's got a newer one. As you can see, it's really shouldn't be that close to the muffler, but that's temporary for now. I can find the proper one when I have time. And oh, it was very low on oil. So, I mean, it was like this far from the end of the dipstick, way down. So it was looked like low on oil, but I drained out the rest of that crap oil, filled it back up. It smoked for about 30 seconds and then cleared right up. A testament to these older engines, even the aluminum bore. So when I get time, I'll put the correct nut and bolts on this recoil housing, put the correct Walbro carburetor with the air filter back on, and then air filter was clean. I put a different spark plug on. I had one of those resistor spark plugs. I put a regular J19 LM Champion, which I like. I know some people say bad things about the Champion plugs, but I've got a couple Champion plugs from 1940. So, and they're still working. So I like them the best. Specifically the J19 LMs for the flatheads. Those are really good spark plugs. The newer ones, the slimmer ones, that's debatable. I was looking over the machine a little bit closer. These are removable. If somebody wants to buy those to add a bagger, they can. This doesn't actually do anything with the steering, so I can remove this, you know, clean up this seat a little bit or put a different seat on, and then just clean this up a little bit and then add a tank, reconnect the wiring with the electric start. I can add the electric start back, and then it actually wouldn't be a bad mower to sell. So I'm now actually considering that. In the meantime, I've got it set up for gravity fed. We'll start it real quick, run it for a minute, mow with it. I'll put the air filter housing that I have back on. And one other thing I want to note about these air filter housings is there's two kinds. There's the kind where the breather hooks to the side, and there was the kind where the breather hooked up top. The one I had originally hooked up top. So I tried to modify that one with a Dremel to open this up to allow that butterfly to open and close, and I went a little bit too far and I ended up putting a hole in it, which is fine. I've got a bunch of them, but yeah, it was just something I learned today. This was a revision, or maybe this was for the overhead valve, where they changed the breather location from up top here to the side. So I've been digging around looking for one. So right now I don't have the breather for it, for this specific one. I do have a 12 in there that has one, but it's hard as a carb, and I don't want to break it getting it out. So for now, I'm going to put this on with the air filter. It just won't have the breather. And the choke with this on doesn't close completely, but it still closes enough to choke it to start it. And then once you do that, it runs. But yeah, you really can't use a Nikki on a flathead motor because of that specific reason. Otherwise, it runs fine. It would run fine. You know, it did run fine, but you've got to be able to have the air filter assembly fit properly. You've got to have proper filtration. You can't have the butterfly sticking. You can't have dirt getting in. So once I'm done running it, mowing with it a little bit, I'm gonna run it dry, and then when I get around to it, because I've got a million other projects going on, when I get around to it, I'll make the final decision on whether to go ahead and save this machine or part it out. Like I said, I have a tank that can bolt right to the back, and these will be out of the way. So since the tank's missing and I have one that'll fit on there, that kind of solves that problem. So this may end up being a machine that gets sold. It'll need a battery for the electric start once I add the flywheel with the teeth and add the starter, which I have. So, Siri, how do you pause this on iPhone? I guess you guys are just gonna have to watch me put this on, because I don't know how to pause this like I did with my old Galaxy phones. So this added brace really isn't even necessary once you use these and you put the screw on the top, but it had the brace. All right, let me get this hooked up. So the only thing it won't have is the breather for now. And you want the breather. You don't run it long term without the breather. Short term for a little while to demonstrate is okay, but definitely want the breather hooked up. So, these are 7/16. But yeah, if you're able to properly modify this air filter housing to allow the choke to open and close, then you can get away with a Nikki. Ooh, hate when that happens. One-handed right now, because I was expecting to be able to pause this. I'm gonna have to look into the options on this phone. I got an iPhone now. I love it. I love the iPhone. It sounds like a stereo in your pocket. Whoop, I'll get that in a sec. Takes really good photos. Yeah, there's not really much bad I can say about it. The only thing I liked about the Android was you could split screen it. On this, they want you to pay to be able to split screen it. You can still, like if you're listening to music and you have your maps up, you can minimize the music so you can see the maps. But it wasn't like the split screen I had on my my last Android. But as far as filming, at the moment, that's the only thing I don't like, is the fact that I can't pause. Well, I'll have to figure that out, but there's no option. The only option I've got here is stop and a white circle, and I'm not going to risk pressing that and stopping the video. So but yeah, it was low on oil, and it looks like it was definitely run for a while, and it was low. Let me tell you, on one of them newer engines, with the amount of oil it had in it, it would have definitely thrown a rod. So the fact that this engine came back and doesn't smoke is pretty amazing. But watch, see the butterfly doesn't close all the way, and it does end up kind of, that's probably why this linkage is getting kind of bent up. So yeah, just stick with the Walbro on the flatheads. Yeah, it's open all the way. Chokes it about that much. It should still be enough. What else here? Air filter. Missing the one screw. I might have one. If not, I'll add it later. Got stuff all over the place still. Early winter, I'm going through here, and a ton of stuff is getting scrapped that I know is never going to see use to make room. Anything for now would be fine. Whatever. If not, I'll find one later. It's probably too big. Yep. Just bear with me a second. When I start filming on a regular, I'll make sure that I either pause, edit, put the phone on a tripod so I've got two hands free. This was just kind of on the fly today. That one would have fit, but it's a lock nut. I don't, well, forget it. I'll put the top bolt for the air filter on later. Yeah, it's not a big deal. Alright. Plus, even with this one on, pretty much keeps it secure anyway, so. See how high that is? Why is that so high? That's weird too. Look at how high that is. I guess because it's missing it? Nah, that's just weird. This isn't usually that high. Oh, that's probably because this is not the original air filter cover. That's why it's so much higher. Alright, let me put some gas in this gravity fed tank I have, so there's enough. I haven't even tried testing it to see if it moves or cuts yet, but I have a feeling it's going to. Bear with me one sec. Alright, so it's going to start on choke. Normally it would probably start on one pull on choke. It's probably going to take a couple pulls since, like I said, butterfly doesn't close all the way. But choke. Low speed idle needs to be brought up a little bit. Run strong now. Don't smoke. What's going on with this thing? Where is it? a gas tank. Gas tank fell over, so it lost fuel. I don't have it very well, you know, secured right now. And it's in gear. Not that it matters because there's no wiring hood out, there's no safety, so. But I can tell the brake needs adjusting. This friction disc felt like it needed to be. I know it can be sent closer to the plate, or the plate can be dropped a little bit. Otherwise, a friction disc could probably use replacing. Come on, get that fuel. Sweet. Here, let me up here for a sec. Take it off choke. Park it. Year 5 now. Woo. And you hear a little bit of backfiring because obviously it isn't the exact correct carb. But see, it runs okay with that carburetor. It's just a matter of, you've got to be able to have the right, you got to be able to install the air filter housing. All right, so I'm gonna pull this tank, run it dry, and then when I get to her, whether I save her or part her out, either way it's a home run. Free, good engine, good rims and tires, good deck other than that. Couple other components, or it could be saved and sent. Steering is fine. Brake was working, it does need to be adjusted. Friction disc actually seemed like it was doing pretty good because when I put it in fifth, it was working like the other ones I've had. I see this often where the cable breaks and they fix it with a cable tie. And you got this safety here. You engage it, you gotta have your feet down to lock that in place. Older ones didn't have that, but that was something they decided to add. So yeah, it might be salvageable. We'll see how it goes. Either way, I'm happy. So there she is, guys. Thanks for watching. Later.